comes down. Group of cars coming in. This has all got trouble written all over it. This is G3 cars.
Drop downhill there, head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course. There's another one on through the gravel. As wide as possible as they drop downhill, putting that from the inside line. Yes,
Oh, he did.
through he goes.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to Season 13 of Apex Online Racing Sprint Cup Series. And with the new season comes a bunch of new cars, a brand new circuit, and a slightly different voice to normal. Obviously, I am Tim360 Lunn, and it is just getting underway now. Qualification here for the Tier 1 drivers. And everyone pouring out of the pits immediately. This should be a bit of an exciting one. Racing into the unknown. Lots of new drivers this season here. A completely fresh circuit to most people. And very fresh new cars. So going to be very interested to see how everyone gets on this evening. There's some fantastic liveries here. Having a quick look at this. Alan Drake Cruise Pulse SimSport. I did actually have a message come through from this young driver's dad. Actually wanted to give him the best of luck, as he is actually only 10 years old, so unbelievable to be in Tier 1, the tippy top of sim racing by the age of 10. I can only imagine how quick he is going to be over the next coming years. Absolutely outstanding effort to get himself straight into Tier 1. Mega effort. Let's see if we can catch up with our first driver on track, which is very much not a fresh face here. Man we all know and love. Makowski for Pit Lane Esports. So lots of new drivers, brand new circuit, I say, with these new cars as well. It has meant an absolute influx of brand new, nice shiny liveries to keep an eye on. But this is our first flyer. Ooh, already going very wide. Surely that has dirtied the lap. Absolutely fantastic corners all the way through Sector 1 and Sector 2. I'm very much looking forward to the end of Sector 3. The long flying long flying left-hander. And then into a tightening, almost hairpin left-hander at the end. It's going to be very, very exciting to see how they get on with these corners. Lots of overtaking opportunities here at Valencia. It's tight and windy, but it is definitely doable. Well, now it's coming into turn 11. And it doesn't matter how many laps you've put into practice, 100% this is the least practiced circuit we are going to see here this season. It's still so new, and with the whole new physics engine as well, making the cars handle very differently. All those setups you were used to for Season 12 out the window. Here we go. This is possibly going to be the first flyer. I'm pretty sure the first flyer by car number 11 was actually invalidated. But it looks like it's actually going to catch up with some traffic, which will not be what they want at all. Oh, it was a set time. Oh, Valentine Barrier set a time of 1:30, currently on pole. And yes, Mikowski did indeed dirty his lap. Cars now coming across the line, having a quick look at Ben Crook. He's racing for Pulse Sim Sport. Car number 8, lovely livery again on that McLaren. And Luke Whitehead, the Ripper. Oh, that's an absolutely brilliant car in his Peppa Pig Audi. Already putting himself on par. I say, obviously, Luke dominated season 12 last time round. An absolutely dominant win. And so we're looking at now, he had 4 pole positions, a 2nd position, a 7th and an 11th, finishing with 576 points against Caracas, who I don't believe has returned this season. Caracas only with 506, and then Van der Velde with 426. So Luke Whitehead really showing why he is the Ripper. Oh, Jardier coming in with a lovely time there as well, putting himself into 2nd. Just going to stick with this car of Luke Whitehead for a minute, follow him round, bit of a masterclass here at Valencia. So do let us know in the chat if there's anyone in particular you want to see on the stream, anyone you want to cheer along. Oh, bit of a mistake there from Luke, pushing a little bit too hard. Fingers crossed he can get it all back under control, but I'm pretty sure this will be an abandoned lap. Luckily right near the end, so he hasn't got too far to go. So currently still out the pole. It definitely won't be any kind of improvement this time round. Certainly wasn't. Oh, and hello, here we have a new pole position. Car number 71, Ren Velton Esports. This is Leon Burdent. And still pushing hard. Obviously thinks they can go faster. And actually our first driver's into the 129s. Just scraped himself in there, but certainly there. Oh, Luke Whitehead coming to the pit, so obviously not happy with how the car feels. Or just running such a small amount of fuel, he's only getting a chance to do 1 flyer at a time. So far looking like everyone has set some kind of time. But there are some really big names here again this season. Casangina, Black Goldsaw, Boothby, Mellis. I mean, the list goes on and on. De Campo, Stachecki. I mean, it's a constant rolling list. Jardier obviously here as well. Valentine Barrier, Fisher. It's just everyone has come back this season. Great to see them. Always a little slightly less attendance you tend to see for these summer months. Either people have real life plans or it's just too hot for them to race where they live. But really good to see. Oh, and Valentine Barrier takes away pole position straight back to the pits as well. See if there's anyone that is on a good run as Leon abandons this lap. Oh, and on board with car number 22, Szymanski was 0.2 up, but I'm not sure if they just invalidated it. We'll know when they cross the line. Coming across here, is there an improvement? Yes, there is, up into 2nd place, and Whitehead is plummeting down, already off the qualifying podium at the moment. He is out and pushing. I'm just trying to see if there's anyone else that's on an absolute flyer. Lots of people making small improvements all across the grid. Let's have a quick jump on board with Jardier as he's coming across the line, and we will stick with him for an entire lap, I think, this time round. Oh, he's moved off the racing line, so no, he won't, but puts himself in 2nd place. Really good effort there. He's put in a 1:29.887. Oh, a fantastic livery, that. Look at that great big smile, as we all very much know, that great big smile that we see every time we tune into one of his streams. An absolute joy to have as part of the sim racing community. And so far, everyone is just absolutely so close. Back with Barrier, who doesn't appear to be... Ah, yes, he is lining himself up for a flying lap. We're going to stick with Barrier for the moment. See what he can do. fact, we're going to try and jump on board the dashboard. It's going to be pretty loud inside the car, but we'll try our best. It's just such a beautiful track here at Valencia as we sit on the dash cam. Valentine still using absolutely every inch of the circuit. There's some really odd corners here, sort of almost double apexes, very long turns where you're still accelerating through the turn before getting yourself ready for the braking at the very end here through sector 2. Lots of these double apexes. It's certainly one of those circuits where people will struggle towards the end of the race with concentration to maintain the same line, get their braking points right every single time. Lots of large inside sausage curbs all over the place as well. This is the main one, this long left-hander, foot all the way to the floor. How dare you leave it to brake before you come down into the final hairpin and throw it in. Now, is this going to be an improvement? It is not. He's still down on his time by 1.7 seconds, so it's probably going to be a fly the next time round. See, using absolutely every last bit of the circuit as he can. Oh, and this is someone who's just come across the line. I think this is... I have to apologise. I thought that was a new adding to the top 3. But actually having a look now at... Looking for Thim. This is Aidan Walshingham. Oh, a bit too much inside curve there and definitely invalidated his lap that time round. Is there anyone on big improvements? A couple of people further down the grid with some slight improvements. Looking at, might hear a little improvement here for Dimitrov. Over 63, running an 18th. Where's he going to go to now? And no improvements there. Jumping on now with, this is the Clash Sim Racing car of Kevin Tadee. Across the line. Is this going to be an improvement? It was on 21st. Is there going to be any improvement as it comes across the line? Yes, up into 19th place. Fantastic effort from there. Oh, and a shout out in the chat for Alexandra Lee. Let's see if we can jump them on. Here we are. Currently running in 10th place, the Prima Esports. Beautiful Ferrari. Currently running in 10th place. Don't think this is going to be an improvement for them, but we'll keep a close eye. Currently qualifying just behind Boothby. And as you can see, the new cars do seem to be favoured by these racers. Lots of Ferraris, lots of Lamborghinis, a couple of the new McLarens, the newly tweaked McLaren. Still nice to see an Audi in there of Whitehead. Fisher with the BMW as well. It's going to be mightily difficult to keep an eye on all these cars because they're all Ferraris or they're all McLarens. But really nice to see that Assetto Corsa Competizione is still getting the love it deserves from the developers. It's still getting constant updates, tweaks, little BOP changes. So just over 2.5 minutes left of qualifying now. Oh, putting himself on the pole position. Great effort. The 1:29.837. Really, really strong lap there. Oh, and Barrier immediately takes it away. It's coming up towards the end of the lap here for Alexandra Lee. Definitely not an improvement. Actually, nearly a second down. be interesting to see if we have any kind of improvement. Really going to push maybe this lap. I've given himself one lap to get the tyres down. Is it anyone on an improvement? Sorry, Hool is on an improvement. Just coming now through Sector 2. Only a tiny improvement, but it is enough to dethrone Barrier. Just possibly dipped back into the negatives again, though. Stayed strong, dealt with that traffic fantastically. And a big push towards the line. It only needs the tiniest improvement to retake pole position. We're going to find out in just a moment. Oh, it's an improvement, but not quite enough. It's so close. This is 0.008 seconds behind Barrier. That is an unbelievably tight margin. Anyone on an improvement out here at the moment? There's such tight margins. They're dipping in and out. Actually, someone that's on a really good improvement is Richie for the Boomer squad. Another Ferrari. Here we go. Big improvements should be coming. Up into 7th place. A 10 position gain. Absolutely fantastic. Are they going to keep going for one more lap? Yes, they are. 17th to 7th. An absolutely ginormous improvement. Anyone else near the top making any improvements? Doesn't look like it. Leon on that number 71 making small increments of pace. Actually, Rashinov, who is currently running in 24th place, is 0.3 up. And although you would think sort of 41st place, that's a long way down. Actually, and so is Ademu in 40th position. Big improvements for them as well. So we might see some big jumps as they are currently, well, 0.3 up is Rashinov. So that could really see them fly up the listings. Everyone is super close. The top 39 cars all within a second of each other. Half a second improvement now from Rashinov. So from 41st, and where are we going to see? 41st up to 40th in the end. Just gets himself out of provisional last position, but still a massive, massive time improvement there. A couple of drivers still to come through, looking as if Giardier still out there pushing hard. Currently in Sector 2 at the moment. And the cars all over the place. It's going to be a case of wait to the very end and then call out the list as they come. Giardier hoping to hold on to that 3rd position on the grid. Stick with him for a little bit. So car 15 and 21 just about to come across the line. Will we see any improvements? Yes, and just been pointed out in the chat that there is no Mercedes on the grid. Yeah, a bit surprised because it's been massively improved by the latest updates. So yeah, was a little bit surprised to see that there's absolutely none out there on the track. But such is the way that, you know, even if it is a car that you actually prefer overall, you have to make sure you choose a car that is favoured by the in-game balance of performance, or the BOP, or BOP, as some people might call it. So yeah, it's a little bit of a, especially at this level of esports, you really do need to be making sure that you are playing it, not just playing the simulation, but playing the game a little bit, as it were. You need to just do everything in your favour to try and get improvements. Right, let's run through our grid then. 3 3/4 minutes until everyone is on their formation lap. So Valentine Barrett, let's try and get a slightly better shot, shall we? Go for the helicam. It's a bit far away, but at least we can see the different liveries ever so slightly. So Valentine Barrier on pole. Oscar Hool in 2nd place. Honzik, who is obviously Giardier to most people, in 3rd position. Porcio in 4th. Wallacham in 5th place. Szymanski 6th place. Black Goldsaw famously playing with a controller as well. Although I'm not sure that is still the case. If that is the case, goodness gracious. So that was Black Goldsaw. Now we have 8th position is Richie, car number 41. Leon in the car number 71. Running in 9th. 10th place is Jay Fang. 11th place is Luke Whitehead. He'll be disappointed with his qualifying, if I'm honest, after doing so strongly last season. Unless he is on an absolute charge, he's going to struggle to get pole position easily this time round. George Boothby running in 12th place. Alexander Lee, I do apologise, running in 13th place, which is fitting for here at season 13. Matteo De Campo running in 14th place. Joshua Allen, 15th. Dimitrov in 16th place. Siata running in 17th. Aldaki in 18th place. Crook in 19th. Serajin in 20th. Teddy in 21st. 22nd. Second is Parak. Gert Fisher in 23rd. Seminara, very, very common name to see, in 24th place. Sean Arnold in 25th. Mukska in 26th place. Makanowski all the way down in 27th place. Acheki down in 28th place. Samir Fock in 29th. Alan Drake Cruz in 30th place. Alessio Mellis, another very well-known name here at Apex Online Racing, running in 31st place. Antonio Chirot in 32nd place. Stachecki in 33rd. 34th is Campanella. And Tarin in 35th. Bergold in 36th. Alvarado in 37th. Casangina running in 38th. 39th is Mitchell Rashanov in 40. And rounding out the grid is Francesco Ademu in 43rd place. If we're honest, it's anyone's race this time round, isn't it? I mean, you really cannot call it this early in the season. Who will it be? Just who knows? Valentine Barrier, as we know from previous seasons, has always been a very, very quick driver. No denying that. You cannot take that away from that man. Hool is someone that I haven't actually got much history on. Normally I would do a couple of hours worth of research before the race, but it was all a bit last minute this season round. So I do apologise if there has been any mispronunciations. Do feel free to let me know in the chat if I am saying someone's name wrong. I will not be offended if you want to throw a proverbial shoe at me and tell me off for saying something wrong. But 10 seconds now until they start their formation lap. And we begin Season 13. I just cannot believe it's Season 13 already. It really doesn't feel like it was that long ago that I joined Apex Online Racing as part of the commentary crew. But here we are, already in Season 13. So we're going to stick with our leaders on the helicam just for a minute. So currently going through turn 1 of Aspar. And again, this short dash down to Duhan, which is our turn number 2. It really is a lovely circuit here, just through this slight kink here. Turn 3 down to turn 4. And you're barely going to be braking through turn 3. You're really going to be just trying to line up and get turn 4 as good as possible. Again, staying wide here, down towards turn 5, a slightly longer turn, a little bit of a slightly later apex. And then a quick dash up to turn 6. Very easy to go wide at turn 6. It is slightly over. So that 90 degrees, it can really catch you out. There's plenty of runoff space, but obviously you do want to be very aware of any kind of track infringements. And then a mad dash down to the quick left-hander of turn 7, Curve d'Afficione, or Afficion. And down into turn 8, another long left-hander. Again, another corner where you want to make sure you don't get on the power too soon and wash out wide. Lots of runoff as always, but you really do have to be careful here. Cars just clipping through each other slightly to try and warm the tyres. Coming through turn 11. down through turn 12. A corner where it's really easy to overshoot, actually, and that massive curb on the inside. I think we might see some of these slightly more mid-engined cars that are a bit more twitchy. But actually, to be fair, that is most of the beginning of the grid, isn't it? Get a bit twitchy through there. And then this long, sweeping left-hander of turn 13. This is where we might see some really big moves for position. It's one of those corners where it really does favour the brave. You want to make sure you've got plenty of grip. Don't leave your braking too late, otherwise you'll be overshooting and lose all your speed as you come down the main straight. But here we go, getting ready for the final run to the line for the opening round of Apex Online Racing Season 13. Just waiting on the green light now, the final run. Barrier, all the adrenaline be running through him. He knows he needs to keep that inside line. The lights go green. Oh, big movements there by, that is Porcho, who takes a big move and trying to gain a position, isn't able to. So far, everyone looking good though, all together. Gonna go helicam to try and get a decent view of everybody. No yellow flags on turn 1, absolutely fantastic. Just noticed car 22 starting from the pits. So far, all good, but already Hool looking to try and gain a position. Same as Jardier as well, looking to try and gain positions. Stick with the leaders here on lap 1 unless we have some kind of incident, and then we might cut back. But oh, this top 10 absolutely nose to tail as the Assetto Corsa in-game timing board throws a little bit of a wobbly and shows us all over the place. And although starting from the pits for car number 22, oh, and there we go, there's a yellow flag. Oh, and a couple of yellow flags actually now popping up. And which cars were they? They were car 88, car 141. Everyone up and moving again. We're not going to jump back them quite yet. We're going to keep an eye on this front pack for a little bit longer. Everyone moving, but a couple of cars there definitely got involved in some kind of incidents. But everyone looking pretty good, and Valentine Barrier managing to hold on to pole position for nearly the entire lap. Oh, a couple of cars getting very squirrely there. Hool knows he needs to try, and sorry, Hool knows he needs to try and make a move quickly, but there we go, Barrier is going to lead the opening lap. Oh, that helicam is so close. And everyone survived lap 1. Fantastic effort. Everyone trying to get out of the way of this leading group, though. Barrier still pushing hard, and actually it was Jardier that managed to put in the fastest first lap. Brilliant little squabbles going on. Let's jump back down a little bit. So this is back down, and there's a battle going on here right now. I believe this is Ritchie versus Whitehead. It was indeed, and Whitehead does get the position. Oh, car number 24 and 120 with yellow flags a bit further down. That's actually on the pit straight. So not sure what's happened there for them all to come to a complete stop. But moving again now, so not sure quite what was going on. Luke Whitehead already looking to gain positions, pushing forward hard. Cut a bit further down the grid again. Oh, here we go, and we have just Perec, part of the Flying Estonians team, in the Lamborghini, gaining a position over the Porsche of Mikowski. Oh no, sorry, that wasn't. That was the Porsche of, that's Seattle. I think the game is showing people ever so slightly out of order. There we go, yes, so Perec past Seata up into 18th position. There we go, again, you see that massive curve causing people some incidents. Actually, enough of an incident to throw up the in-game slow lapping car graphic. So it's definitely affecting people. This might be the first time that they've actually raced against this level of competition here as well. With our little battles going on everywhere. Going to jump back on board with our leaders. As the top 3 drivers are ever so slightly breaking away from the rest of the pack. It's only marginal, but these 3 definitely trying to get a wriggle on. Maybe not battle too hard first couple of laps. Maybe get a gap and then they can concentrate on it later. I imagine Jardier is licking his lips with excitement, watching these 2 in front, hoping that there might be a slight squabble between them and then he can take advantage. But at the minute, everybody is just putting in fast, hot laps. Car number 24, just see that recovering from the pit. It's quickly just jump on that. Is Rashanov, in the BMW who has actually stopped at the end of the pit straight, so I'm not sure what's going on with him there. Got a quick look now at Tarin running in 26th position, surrounded by fast-moving cars. And this is the thing with Tier 1, there just is absolutely no respite. Everybody is the pinnacle of sim racing here. Absolutely no fat left on the steak. It has been trimmed. As you can see with these gaps everywhere, super close racing. At this early stage of the race, it really is a case of just choose a number and go for it. In fact, let's jump on with Black Gold Sword quickly. Oh, who's having a proper squabble? Racing for stability control, 88%. Oh, little touch on the outside. Car number 71 goes through. And I think actually George Boothby took advantage of that and got through as well. The timing board sorts its life out, we'll know for certain. But yes, Boothby, car number 800, goes through as well. As we know earlier on this year, I believe actually it was George Boothby with a dislocated or broken finger while playing Assetto Corsa Competizione on an in-lap, so we'd be very pleased to still be improving and pushing forward. Obviously any kind of hand injury, as much as you might think sim racing is just a case of, you know, sitting down and playing a quick game, it is most certainly not at this level. It is a proper physical sport. Any kind of injury will affect you, and probably nothing worse than a cramping hand or a still repairing injury. They're trying to furiously race at this level. And a quick look down at Makowski. Pit Lane Esports running in 20th place, with Serenjin in the 777 behind, and Seattle in front. Seattle has lost a few positions since the beginning, but still really showing fantastic effort. Here's what I'm saying, just behind this battle now between Arnold and Serenjin. I think we might see a move here done for turn 1, actually, from Arnold. Have a quick look over that wing. There it is. It's very, very close. Running a little bit wide there, though. Have to be very careful not to get too many track warnings. You don't want to spend too much time out wide. That gap actually in the top 3 now, they have broken away slightly, a second gap back to 4th, so still only a second, but very much a big margin when it comes to this grid. So about the 20th place seems to have just cooled off a little bit, but the battle that is very much on is Jay Fang racing for Team Shimmy Skins. And a really, really good effort here being done by Jay Fang. I remember him from back in the Tier 2 days. Oh, Valentine Barrier now putting the fastest lap of the race as well. So obviously now broken away just enough from Paul, where he feels comfortable enough not to defend. There's Jay Fang in that lovely livery. Big dragon up the side of it. Some loads of detail in this. Stunning detail in a lot of these liveries, to be fair, and I will admit I'm a bit of a fangirl for all the anime-based liveries that I've been seeing poking around. Oh, someone emerging from the pits there, and with all the cars going by, it's very hard to see which car that is, but coming out into heavy traffic, kind of 45 that looked like. I believe that's car 45, I may have been wrong. It'd be very difficult to actually pick that one out of the crowd. Top slightly broken away at this point. A quick jump back in with the leaders just for a moment to keep a quick eye on them. And actually I think 4th place is probably the battle to keep an eye on. Aiden racing for Looking for Thim, although I'm probably pronouncing that absolutely barbarically, and I do apologise, is currently chasing after Orcho in the car number 28. And you do really can see from this angle just how far the top 3 have broken away. jump on with De Campo running in 13th place. Seems fitting for season 13 to have a quick jump in with 13th place. In Team Lambot. It's absolutely fantastic name. Number 99, a lovely livery on that car as well. I mean, I have to say, for first opening round of the season on a new track with so many new cars, I am really impressed with the level of close, clean racing we're seeing. Normally, when it's a lot of new racers all getting used to each other, you do get a little bit of elbows out, a little bit of argy-bargy on round one, but actually it has been incredibly clean so far this time round. Looks like Stachecki, Eclipse Racing esports driver, down in 33rd position, is starting to get a little bit of hassle from Muska from behind. Still the back of the grid, vastly improving on their times. Really nice to see this constant pushing forward. Quick now jump on board with the Italian job, driven by Antonio Schiro. And it's nice to see this livery actually on a Ferrari. I've been seeing it on a Honda quite a lot recently. Always very confusing when you're suddenly going the Italian job and it's most certainly not an Italian car. Being chased down by Cruz. Oh, a little bit wide there from Cruz. And that does mean he's under attack now from Campanella. Is that enough to get in the tow? Are we going to see a possible move down into turn one? It's going to be a real push, but it might happen. Not quite able to hang on to it, even from turn two, but that is a slight chink in the armour. Are we now going to see a possible push? Really is one of those races where you just, the slightest mistake will see you under attack from drivers around you. Oh, and George Boothby, very much under attack. Speaking of drivers under attack, he is chasing after the back of car number 71, but Black also car number 88 is very much on the attack. 0.3 of a second between them. Lovely looking liveries on these cars, absolutely stunning looking liveries. Red Bull inspired. Emil Frey Racing, it's actually saying on it. Oh, actually, it's the Emil Frey Racing, isn't it? So that is an in-game livery, I believe. Black Goldsaw, the Iron Wolf, is definitely not an in-game livery. And Black Goldsaw is all over the back of Boothby. Ferrari versus Ferrari down towards turn one. There'll be nothing between these cars in a straight line. It's all going to come down to who's feeling bravest on the brakes. And Black Goldsaw is known for being brave and does go up the inside. Does get there. A bit of an overlap. A little bit of a rub. Boothby managing to hold on to it. Ends up running wide, but does keep the position. Really brave stuff from Boothby. I'm not sure how many times he could get away with that without getting a track warning, but fair play. Just held off the brakes just enough to hold on to the position, but Black Goldsaw obviously showing he is willing to put the nose up the inside and make moves happen when and if he can. So while this battle rages on, to be fair, it's looking actually like Black Goldsaw's really catching up with him quickly, doesn't it? See that kind of 88 looking incredibly racy out here this evening. Big move under brakes. Oh, nearly actually colliding with the back of Boothby. I don't think Goldsaw was ready for that, and the gap does open up a little bit. Going to jump back to the battle for 16th position. This three-way squabble. Gert Fischer in our only BMW on the grid. Hadley running in 17th place at car number 788, and Perak in 18th place at car number 7. Putting in some absolutely great lap times as well. So currently these guys are putting in 1:31, which obviously is miles away from their qualifying times, but the setups will be different. They'll be running a lot more fuel. There's traffic around, and it's nigh impossible to push that hard. I mean, even if you look at the fastest lap of the race, that's still only a 1:30.8. So, going to take a little bit of time for the lap times to come tumbling down. It's probably going to be after the pit stops. Obviously, no refueling allowed here in Tier 1, but you have to take tyres. One mandatory pit stop. You can take that any time during a race. It'll be interesting to see people's different tactics and what they go for. Let's have a quick jump back on now with... Actually, let's have a look at our winner from last season. That's Whitehead, who is catching up with this battle for 4th place. Possibly looking to take advantage, and he's very good on the brakes. Oh, the Audi car number 55, immense on the brakes. That is probably quite an aggressive sight to see coming flying up behind you is the old Peppa Pig mobile, which I just think is the cutest, best name for a car. For someone at the absolute level of racing that Luke Whitehead is, to just be able to go Peppa Pig, I think that's fantastic. God, the Audi taking the curves really well there. Really well through turn 13. And actually does start to look up the inside a little bit. And I think Walshingham is going to have to make a move quickly. Well, Luke Whitehead's going to make the move first, and actually down towards turn 1. It's going to be interesting to see. He does put his nose up the inside. He's got a bit of an overlap. He's definitely put himself there. A little bit of defence. Oh, are they going to touch? No, they're not. Oh, yes, a bit of a rub. They both go quite deep there. That might be one to keep an eye on for. I mean, almost a racing incident. Oh, and as well, through comes another car. Car number 41 if Richie goes through, but immediately the position's taken back again. But that little battle now behind is one to keep an eye on. Is that really unsettled Walshingham does manage to recover and only lose the 1 position. But Whitehead now running in 5th place and pushing forward, obviously looking to try and get a podium here in race 1 at Valencia. And actually the battle for 2nd place is really starting to heat up now. Jardier obviously on a bit of a charge, got those tyres up to temp. Everyone's pushed away. Barrier still with the fastest lap of the race, which actually was a 1:30.5. Just trying to not defend and keep pulling away, but it is really, really difficult to do. And actually there was a mistake possibly there. And Hall looks to try and go up the inside, as does Jardier. So the battle for 2nd place is now suddenly turned into a battle for 1st place. I did say there might be some big moves happening around turn 13, and I really do think that is now beginning to happen. Oh, these three have absolutely charged away. Jardier showing the nose a little bit, just trying to maybe unsettle Hall. It's a big name to have in your mirrors, and he's going to now try and go around the outside at turn 2. Can he do it? No. Possibly going to go for a bit of a switchback. Going to try and take the inside down for turn 4. Is it doable? Yes, he's there. Going to be on the outside now for turn 5, though. God, they're both giving each other just enough room, millimetres between them. Jardier desperately trying to hold on, but no, loses the position. Bit of a slide there, though, from Hall. Really well driven by the pair of them, just hanging on to it. And I imagine Valentine Barrier is breathing a sigh of relief after that little mistake last lap. All his hard work is coming to fruition now and being able to race away from these two as they squabble. So definite show of aggression there from Jardier. He might be one of the jolliest men in the very serious racer when it comes to it. Oh! Have we just had a disconnect? Yes, we have had a disconnect for some reason. Okay, everyone at home, if you can all just hang on. Oh no, we're back. Okie dokie. Do apologise about that. The joys of living in the southwest of England is sometimes the internet decides to throw a slight wobbly, so apologies. Okay, let's see what is going on here. So, apologies to anyone at home. There appears to have been a disconnect of some kind. So we will very much try and get back to the action as soon as possible, as can sometimes be the case with sim racing. It's not always plain sailing, I'm afraid. So we will try and get back as soon as possible. Rejoining now. Here we go. We are back in the server. Apologies to everyone at home that is missing the action. We will get you back there. Lickety-split quick. I say, everyone at home, I do apologise. 2 moments where there has been a disconnect on this end. Just trying to get some sort of action back on the screen. Just getting back into it again. So sorry for what has gone on here. It does sometimes happen. You do get the odd disconnect. Yes, that is the best way of putting it, is a technical hitch. Just a slight technical hitch. As anyone that has ever done any broadcasting using the ACC broadcasting tool, you will very much know that sometimes it decides to throw a complete wobble and then stops you from being able to do basically anything. Yes, and to be fair, the weather is particularly strange here in the UK this evening, so... Right, we are going to have to quickly jump just to the pre-stream screen for a moment. I do apologise profusely for this. I will get it up and running lickety-split, but we are going to have to quickly just go over to the pre-stream screen for a moment. So do sit tight, we will be back. It just needs a bit of a reset. So apologies about the wait, but we are back up and running again. The English weather throwing some absolute hissy fits this evening, and I actually started to see people pour into the pits as I quick jump back on board with our leaders, make sure nothing's changed too much there. Top three as it was. Fourth is still Porcho, and Whitehead still in fifth place as of now. So apologies that we missed the beginning of the pits, but such is life, I'm afraid, sometimes. Don't we just love a bit of stormy weather in the UK? So this battle going on at the moment actually is for 6th place. And Alexander Lee really starting to put the pressure now on Porcho. Car number 3 versus car number 28. Ferrari versus Lamborghini. Two brand new cars here at the moment. Yes, and luckily it was only on apparently my end. It was nowhere else. Apparently it was just me here in Somerset that had the issue. So luckily none of the other racers lost. It was nothing more than a bit of a technical hitch on my end, sadly. So thank you everyone at home for sticking with us. Let's try and see if there's anything going on here. A little bit further down the grid. This is Joshua Allen. What's going on with the cams? Oh, there we go. It's gone into the pit lane. Typically, as soon as a little battle appears on my timing screen, everyone dives into the pits and he immediately ruins my plans. So, the Italian job, driven by Antonio Chiro, currently being chased down by Alan Cruz. I think the theme of this entire season is going to be Ferrari versus Lamborghini, I think, isn't it, really? There's a few other cars sort of smattered around the field, but I think it's really going to be a battle between these two Italian manufacturers. And can you even call Lamborghini Italian these days? Obviously now run and owned by the Volkswagen Group, or VAG Group. An absolute monster of a corporation these days. And actually, looking like Chiro is actually managed to get a little getting away just as he comes through Sector 2. Just starting to break away a little bit. So far, none of our leaders in. Oh, actually, tell a lie. Our 3rd place runner has come into the pits. And where have they re-emerged? 15th place for Jardier. So Jardier, our leading pitted car. Obviously gone for a slightly early pit. Obviously happy that with less fuel in the car, the tyres will last a little bit longer. Only apologise that the opening round of this race, is being affected in such an incredibly annoying way. So to all viewers at home, I do hope you know this is equally frustrating for me as it is for you. Okay, right, probably have to put back to the pre-screen again. Again, apologies, but no one wants to just sit here and watch a frozen screen. So sadly, quite a few technical issues this evening. I say the server is still there and not even getting the disconnect message. It's just all locking up. And back to the main race again. Oh, car number 21 is off. Car number 21, that was 27th position. Let's see if we can jump back and see what was going on there. Is it going to let us view car number 21, or has 21 possibly left? No, there it is. It's going to be a big old jump back. Oh, and off again, it would seem. So trying to go to the replay. It doesn't seem overly keen to let me. It has not let me go back to the replay for whatever reason, and that's a real shame. But car was running in. Oh, there we go. It's now finally decided. So following on at the moment. And what's going to happen here is got car number 424 behind them. Yeah, 424. Watching back over this clip, very much being hassled into the second half of the lap. Does go a little bit wide. Someone tries to go up the inside. Oh, there just wasn't enough of an overlap to make the move. Both cars end up rotating off the circuit. Done the right thing and held the brakes there. Car number 424. That is Bergold, Lucas Bergold. But sadly, I think actually there's another mistake coming up here as well. Oh yeah, there's a bump. Oh, and they get rear-ended. Car number 32 ends up bumping them. That is not what they would have wanted. And it all just went a little bit wrong. So, back out with our provisional leader, as this is the leading car that has pitted. As the other two cars are currently in the pits. Yeah, just wait for the timing screen to sort itself out again. There we go, Giardier, who did pit slightly earlier, didn't actually seem to work out in his favour. The gap has opened up a little bit. Oh, so we might see some penalties start rolling in just a moment. There's one of the cars involving car number 15 and 25 on lap 2. There was no further action on that one. And then a 20-second time penalty for car number 43 and 2 licence points for dive bombs and spins a car. And that was on lap 2 as well. So that would have been the lap 2 incident. We didn't cut back to it just because there was so much action still going on in the main race. But yes, clearly still some slight incidents going on there from takes from time to time. And do let me know at home that the stream is showing correctly. If anyone could, on my screen, hopefully should be all up and running, but after the technical issues we've had so far, let's not be too careful, shall we? Let's see if we can cut back to a slightly different battle as well, though. Let's try to keep an eye on Luke Whitehead, obviously up to 5th place. Yes, all working fine at home. Thank you very much for letting me know. Thank you, Ada. Appreciate that one. So battle going on now. This is the battle for 7th place. George Boothby again versus Black Goldsaw. This was going on before the pit stops began and continues to rage on in this second half. Actually, there's an entire row of cars building up. It does seem that maybe Boothby is a bit of a bottleneck here. And look at lap times, only slightly slower than Black Goldsaw last time round. That's quite the queue of Ferraris that has built up right behind him as he all come thundering over those curbs. I'm trying to look as comfortable as possible, but I can assure you that those cars will not be feeling nice. So these mid-engine cars, I mean, the old Ferrari was an absolute monster on the curbs. It was pretty scary. Possible moving into turn 1. No, nothing happening. It happens every season though. Oh, bit of a mistake there. And that was from, I believe that was kind of a 71 of Leon. A little mistake. Luckily he doesn't lose a position. Just about manages to hold on to it. But this is an entire battle that's going on, this large pack. So this is currently Boothby, Goldsaw, Verdant, Fang, Richie, and all the way down, I believe Lee is on the back of this pack. It might even be Joshua Allen actually at the back of this pack. It's a huge gathering. Yes, it is. So it's car number 3 who is at the back of this, currently running in 12th. And they will be hoping for squabbles in front to gain a few positions. Ooh, a little bit too aggressive on the curb there though, possibly going to lose some time. And as always, it just keeps going and going. Another 23 minutes and 52 seconds of the race left. Valentine Barrier's lead is at 0.4 seconds. So certainly under attack again. And although Houle has managed to pull away from Jardier, quite comfortable gap there, so he's able to keep pushing forward. And oh, is that actually, that's an exact match of best time. So both drivers on their last lap did an absolutely perfect lap in comparison to each other, a 1:30.095. Both cars currently hold the fastest lap of the race. They did it on the exact same lap. Pretty astounding stuff. Obviously both absolutely pushing it to the limit. It shows the absolutely ridiculously close margin of racing here in Tier 1. Okay, another inquiry coming through. And so no further action being taken against car numbers 22, 24, 32 and 420 on lap 1. Oh no, I do apologise actually. 20-second penalty for car number 22 and 2 licence points. Car number 22 misses the braking zone and hits car number 420. And you always have to be careful on lap 1. It's where the stewards are the most strict. Just got to try and keep everyone clean. So jumping back into this battle a little bit further back now. I'm going to jump on board with car number 14 of Jay Fang when the timing board changes. And the battle raging on down towards turn 1. Oh, and actually, a little move in the back of this pack. Not quite. Still, the constant barrage of attacks from these drivers. Absolutely fantastic to keep it this clean. All of them absolutely just flying around this new circuit at immense speed. And as I always say, sort of race 1 of the season is always a little bit hairy for incidents. But we've had a few little bumps and grinds here throughout the entire race. But nothing sort of ridiculous. There hasn't been any great big let's restart the server events. Luckily, although it does seem that the internet on my end has been desperately trying to get the server to restart for whatever reason. Looks like the battle further down the grid is heating up for 22nd position. Or 21st position, actually. Yes, here we go. Campanella versus McCoskey. Ferrari versus Ferrari. This all comes down to the driver when it's a matched car. It comes down to, obviously the setup comes into it as well. And as we said, with the big physics change that came along sort of in the most recent large in-game update, that really got rid of all the old setups where you used to be able to exploit the numbers and run a ridiculous amount of tow and things like that. And the acts actually changed it. Oh! And car number 67 picking up a 20-second penalty. Actually, and here we go, we're actually finding out the reason for that now. Yeah, 20-second penalty, and that was for an incident on lap 1 for car number 67. Big old read up on that one. Essentially misses the braking zone, possibly even go with the best move. Oh, here we go, slight move here from Campanella, tries to load it up the inside. Still not close enough, and they're going to have to move because Cruz is really starting to catch up with them. taking full advantage of these two squabbling. So Cruz could actually get 2 for 1 here if he plays his cards right, just maintains the pressure but doesn't get too close. Gets himself within striking distance. That'd be absolutely fantastic if they can manage to get 2 positions at once. The lead gap is still 0.4. Wallingshire will be disappointed maybe being down in 5th now. Luke the Ripper Whitehead holding on to 4th place. Certainly not a big gap there, only 0.5 of a second. This gap maybe slightly opening up. I think Campanella is maybe starting to realise that Cruz is coming up behind and maybe choosing a slightly different line. Or Cruz getting the braking done even on the curbing there. Really good car control, managed to get that stopped. One of those corners where there's no choice but to brake and turn at the same time. Possibly a reason why the Mercedes is not a very popular car this season. I've got to say, the track list this season makes me wish I was racing myself. I love the track list this time round. It is absolutely amazing. I'm incredibly jealous that everyone's going to get to do these races. Valencia, round 1. Donington, which is one of my all-time favourite tracks, round 2. Laguna Seca, another great track, round 3. Round 4, Spa, Brands Hatch, Snetterton, Imola, finishing off the season. This is 7 weeks of racing with no breaks. Normally we get a little break in the middle, but this time round we're not. Oh, and the three-way battle opens up with Cruz having a little look up the inside. Oh, he's trying to take advantage of this squabble going on. I think he's going to be able to. Yes, gains a position, goes up the inside, just manages to close the nose off. Can he get it done? No, he can't. Push back out again. Oh, and there we go. The Italian job bundles through. Big incident there. The Italian job trying to take advantage of the slower drivers. Campanella manages to hang on to the position, and the biggest loser really there was Cruz, sort of getting muscled out the way. I think while I was reading out those kind of almost typical British touring car circuits, the Italian job decided to go full British touring cars. It was elbows out for certain. And Cruz taking a bit of a hit there and losing a few positions. Be very disappointing for him. But Shiro, the main winner there, gaining a couple of positions. Have to see what race control make of that, though. I would not be surprised if we see some kind of incident report for that one. It very much seemed like a bit of a push to pass scenario. Very easily done when it's those large groups. It's very easy to just get caught up in the battle. Maybe only looking at the car in front rather than too many cars ahead. Oh, we had a yellow flag briefly there. The car has recovered. That was further down the grid. I think that was kind of 14. Back on board with Boothby versus Goldsaw. Oh, and the incident on lap 1 between 14.71 and 800. No further action being had on that one. Apparently just some minor paint swapping. A little bit of rubbing is racing on lap 1. Does happen. And actually, Alan Racing in the chat saying the Italian job used them as a braking point. Yeah, I mean, I certainly can't weigh in on it too much, but it certainly got a little bit messy just for a brief moment. So the Italian job, a very experienced team. So surprised to see sort of mistakes being made, but it does happen from time to time. And the top gap at the moment, Valentine barrier nearly opened it up to an entire second. This little battle seems to be a battle of attrition. Boothby versus Goldsaw. I'm going to jump back on board. Let's try and get Gert Fischer in our one and only BMW, currently running in 16th place. Kind of feel like we've got to put something, a slightly different brand on the screen, and what a fantastic livery it is. Gert Fischer, West Competition Racing. Lovely sort of mix of purples and pinks. Oh, big slide there though, going into turn 13. If that opened up, I think we cut them at just the right time. Oh, it's kind of a... It's 7-8. That's a 7-8-3, so it's 7-8-3 might actually be, or is it 7-8-8? No, it's 7-8-8. Apologies. Trying to go around the outside, possibly going to get it done. It's going to be a big old drag race down to turn 1 at this point. I think the BMW is probably going to have the legs. Yes, it does. It gets ahead. Just manages to retake the position. But goes a little bit deep, tries to go defensive. He's going to try and push him all the way off the circuit, but he's now 3 wide into turn 2. Oh, and 3 into 1 does not go. And the battle rages on. It's now 4. And I did say towards the end of the race, I thought this is where we might start to see some slightly more aggressive, frantic driving. And Gert Fischer has lost the position and is now under attack from Seata and Arnold as well. They both were very much on the attack. I think Seata might have stood a slightly better chance if he wasn't also trying to battle with Arnold. But fair play, Arnold taking full advantage of this battle and trying to get through. And he is now all over the heels of Seata, like an angry Jack Russell at the postman. He is not letting him get away. Black Gold Sword Boothby battle has opened up just a tad. It seems to have relaxed ever so slightly. This one's still going on, and actually now that Ladke has broken away from Gert Fischer, he does seem to be putting a little bit of pace on and pulling away that gap nearly half a second already, only within, well, basically within the lap, isn't it? It's a huge gain. A little bit further down, let's have a quick jump on board with Casangina, who's running in 32nd place. And it looks like a little bit of a battle is hotting up. What is actually going on? Even closer one for the battle for 30th and 29th. 0.1 of a second. If the camera ever changes, and yes it does. So this is Bergold, Casangina and Mitchell. And actually Casangina managed to have a really, really good end to the lap and did scratch back a lot of time. But as you can see, even this far down the grid, the racing is still frantic. It is still absolutely white knuckles all the way, with just about 12 minutes left of racing. So over 3/4 of the race done. But for now, Valentine Barrier holding on to pole position. Houle holding in 2nd place and Giardier in 3rd. I think someone that's really taken the battle to the front has been Luke Whitehead, and I would imagine that possibly that he is going to try and go after 3rd place, but the gap is ginormous at this point. Going to be a real effort to try and close up that gap. Just trying to see if there's even any closer battles going on. Actually, there is. It's looking like the battle for 22nd and 23rd is starting to hot up a fair bit. Not much between them. And here we go. This is the Italian job battle. Oh, Cruz going up the inside. Brilliant moment to cut to it. Cruz takes the inside. Is he going to get the move done? Tries to put screens. Oh, bit of contact there. Just in the background of the shot. Tried to put a little bit of a screws on Seragin. And he doesn't quite get it done. As you can see just there in the background. Yeah, pushing forward. We've got loads of pace, Seragin, to be fair. Doing really, really well. Mini Simeon, amazing to see you back this season. A YouTube chat regular in both Tier 1 and Tier 2. Really good to see you back. See, it's not just the racers that are regulars, it is the fans as well, which is lovely to see. this looks like this could hot up. This could really be quite the battle, I think. These two they've been held up a few times by the squabble in front of them, and every time they get bunched up, they have some really good clean racing. As they just last lap, they were bumping the doors a little bit. Nothing over the top, just a little bit of, trying to be elbows out, just a tad, not too bad. It certainly wasn't British touring car levels of elbows out. It might just be a little bit of elbows out, but it's fine. We don't mind a little bit of contact. Sharing paint is absolutely fine, as long as it's, it's done with love. Sharing is caring. And we're going to jump back on board with car number 800 of George Boothby and Black Goldsaw. There we go. So this one still raging on, 0.2 of a second between them. I cannot believe how close these two have been for so long, and I imagine Burden and Lee are looking forward and just desperate for these two to squabble a little bit too hard and make a mistake. If these two make a mistake, then the two drivers behind can truly swoop in like a seagull and take away those positions like chips. And someone that lives on the southwest, I can definitely tell you that seagulls are pretty quick to take away the chips. So down towards turn one. This quadruple stack of Ferraris. Oh, and here we go, Black Goldsaw looking to the outside, and then try and get a switch back. Oh, actually had to check the brakes a little bit to try and get the nose back in. Might have had a little bit too much of a run and had a little slight overlap when he went to go for the switchback. Wasn't able to. Oh, and bumping into the back now. Boothby, I think, is struggling in this latter half of the race. 8 minutes left to go, and I'm wondering if his tyres have maybe worn out a little bit quicker than he intended. Because Goldsaw, especially through this sector too, really taking the fight to him. Are we going to see anything here as they come towards the end of sector 2? Burden as well, really it's starting to put the pressure on. Fair play to Goldsaw, not being wavered by the pressure from behind. Really just concentrating and pushing as fast and as forward as he possibly can. So a quick dab of the brakes through turn 12. Get as good a run as possible down towards turn 13. Who's going to be bravest on the braking zone down into 14? Boothby, absolute masterclass there. Gets a really good run off the exit, but Goldsaw's going to be right there in the toe, possibly moving to turn 1. Boothby moving off the racing line, trying to break the toe, but I'm not sure it's going to work. This quadruple stack of cars again. Oh, big turns and moves. Trying to go around the outside now at turn 1. Are they going to do it? Possibly going to get a run up the inside for turn 2. Not able to do it. Really good defensive drive here from Boothby, but I've just got to think that he's got over 6.5 minutes left, and the attack that is on the back of his heels is just unfathomable. We're going to see if we can actually jump on the rear wing of Boothby and get a real idea of the pressure. It's going to be mighty loud over the engine of that Ferrari. Just wait for the camera to change. There it is, over the rear wing now, looking back. Oh, that's just absolutely stunning. You can actually really see the details on that Iron Wolf livery as well, behind those sort of light grey swirls and amongst the black paint. Almost from distance looks like a matte or satin paint job, but when you get close like this, and that's really close. Oh, a little bit of a decent run there from Boothby, actually managing to break away ever so slightly through turn 12. But again, it's through turn 13 where we've really seen Goldsaw be able to bring the fight back. Down towards the final hairpin, and actually now Goldsaw under attack, just doesn't quite get to the apex. Puts the car in a really good position there, actually almost covered off 2 racing lines. But finally Boothby gets a slightly clearer run down towards turn 1. And not having to go defensive, he can just put everything into this turn. Runs very wide. Oh, we can see in the background Goldsaw definitely having to go defensive, and maybe a slightly too deep from him there. And I imagine Boothby is absolutely holding on and just desperate to these two behind keep squabbling. Yeah, as we said earlier on, absolutely incredible that both fastest laps are identical. A 1:30.095, and they were both set on the same lap. So that's pretty impressive. Oh no, a 9th place. Verdon gets a 10-second penalty. So can we see which one that was? That was a incident between 1471 and 800 on lap 1. Oh no, that's not what happened. So where did that 10-second penalty come from? So that was lap 1. That was the one that was no further action. So the time penalty has appeared, but I haven't actually seen what caused that in the race control. I'm sure it will appear any moment. But it looks like Goldsor is slowly being able to take the fight back again. Here we go. Yes, it was car number 41, lap 17. 10-second penalty for car 71. Dive bombs and spins car number 41. So that was Ritchie that got pushed back a few positions. So suddenly, Burndett's position, who was running in 9th place, but at 10 seconds to the time, and that is a big old drop back. I think it's going to see him possibly, well, sort of in the higher teens, and they'll probably be pretty disappointed by that one. But such is racing. Got to keep it clean. It's not just about being fast and going for moves. You've got to maintain quick racing. The battle at the front has sort of maintained this 1 second gap for a fair old while now. Coming a little bit further down, there's another little battle going on here for 22nd place. Mikowski, Shiro and Seragin. Again, this is the Italian job car. I feel like we've sort of been on with these a fair few times. Cruz on the back of this pack as well, not to be counted out. We've seen a couple of times that car's come flying back up through the grid. Absolutely bucket loads of pace. Another little squabble going on even further down the grid. There, it looks like Seminara. This is all the way down near 33rd position. So here we go. This is really starting to go. This is Casagina, Seminara, and I believe Bergold up behind them. It is indeed. Oh, and saying that Seminara with a 5-second penalty. It really does seem to be the curse of the commentators this evening. Every time I sort of start looking at any kind of battle, along comes a 5-second penalty. So what is a close battle on track is actually going to be broken up quite significantly by the pit and by the penalties. Towards the front of the grid, for a brief moment the gap was really small between Jardier and Whitehead, so whether that was just a timing screen fault, I'm not sure. Okay, so lap 1, cars 15, 26, 144, 242, 888 and 979 on lap 1. Basically, all cars equally involved in the incident, so no action will be taken against those cars. That was in lap 1 incident, so as you can see, race control is still trying to get through the backlog of lap 1 incidents. For someone that looked so strong and aggressive at the beginning of the race, Jardier really seems to have settled into 3rd position quite happily. A big old gap back to the car number 55, and actually, looking at it, I think Whitehead, for the first time this race, is actually looking like possibly a bit of a wounded soldier, and he really flew forward in the first half. But now Walsingham is really starting to bring the fight back in that number 2 Ferrari. And all while this goes on, we've also got Porcho, who's closing up behind as well. God, all 3 cars there. You could just see in the back of the shot as well. You can see Porcho. Oh, this is the last lap. This is it. Oh, I do apologise. I've always missed the final thing. Barrier comes across the line in pole. Hool in second. Jardier, and here we are coming on board with these guys now to come across the line. Jardier in third. Whitehead does hang on to 4th place. Walsingham in 5th. Porcho in 6th. See if we can jump back to the Boothby battle, see if we can catch them as they all come flying across the line. To be fair, everyone flying across the line. Oh, Boothby goes off. Fair play. He really has pushed it all the way to the line, has Boothby. Oh, I think Shiro having a really close battle. Hopefully the timing screen will let us have a look before the end of the race as he's on his final stretch to the line. Come on, Shiro. That's Mellis for some reason. Oh, that was that well there. So actually, who came across the line there? I don't think there was any change right there at the line. That was really well done. Apologies for the slightly slow cameras towards the end. For whatever reason, the broadcasting tool is running particularly slowly. But very nice to see all the cars stacking up next to each other. Just a few cars left to come across the line, and then we can run through the final grid and go through everyone that finished. There's still penalties coming through, to be fair. I mean, we're going to see some maybe post-race penalties. We can jump back on and have a look at our leader, who is still out on the track as far as I can tell, probably doing victory donuts. So that is it. That is the end of the race. I think there's still a few cars just to come across the line. There we go, just in the background now you can see. Really fantastic effort from all drivers, to be fair. Really does take a lot of effort to stay clean for this long. As I said, there was a few incidents that we did see, but nothing sort of exceptionally out of the ordinary. So let's cut across and see if we've got anyone stacking up in the comms booth. I imagine we do. And there's no one in there quite yet, actually. No one actually showing up in the comms booth at all. So it'd be really nice to see if we can get some of the top drivers in. Normally the ready for interview box does appear. We're going to jump back. In fact, while we're at it, let's have a read through the ending. So Valentine Berrier comes across in pole, Hool in second, Giardier in third, Whitehead fourth, Walsingham in fifth, Porcho in sixth, Boothby seventh, Goldthorne not able to take away that position, came across in eighth, Lee in ninth, Ritchie in 10th. So that concludes the top 10 finishes this evening. So Alan in 11th, DeCampo 12th, Dimitrov in 13th, Jay Fang in 14th, Hladky in 15th, Burdent in 16th, Fisher 17th place, Arnold 18th, Parak 19th, and rounding out the top 20 is Campanella. Really, really strong effort from everyone on that front. Brilliant effort. So I'm kind of hoping we get someone to come in as well. So we rounded out the top 20. Let's keep going. Still see no one brave enough to come in. All these drivers, absolutely fantastic drivers, but they just not quite brave enough to come in for a chat, and it's always a shame. So yeah, it was Campanella in 20th. Then we had Makanowski 21st place, Serenjin 22nd, Shiro 23rd, Cruz, and again, getting a lot of love in the chat for Cruz. 10-year-old racer, young lad, really fair play. 24th position in Tier 1 with AOR. That is a monstrous effort. Fair play. Ciata, 25th place. Mellis, 26th. Samir Fock down in 27th. Stachecki, 28th. Crook in 29th. And top 30 is Musker. So 33rd place, Mitchell Casanjuna 32nd, Bergold 33rd, Seminara 34th, Ademu 35th, Taddy 36th, Rashanov 37th, Sheki, sorry, Asiek, I need to look up the pronunciation. I do apologise profusely for that. 38th, Taran 39th, Seismaniski 40th, and Alvarado 41st place. Really, really strong effort from all racers this evening. And just really hoping we're going to get someone in the comms box. I don't think anyone's been quite brave enough yet. So, thoughts from this evening. It has been a fantastic race. It's been really good to see the Tier 1 racers put it together quite so well for the season opener. And if you have really enjoyed yourself this evening, it is Tier 2 tomorrow. Same time, same place here at Apex Online Racing on YouTube. It's just the Tier 2 guys, and it's a really good place to see equally close racing, very similar in pace, and also some of the rising stars, some of the big names that you now see up the top. Whitehead, obviously we had Caracas last season, and Caracas spent a couple of seasons in Tier 2, so it is not necessarily just slower drivers. It is some fantastic drivers. And actually, here we go. We have our pole driver has come in. So let's see if we can jump them in just a second. We will grab them. Just going to double check. Let's get them in here. Fingers crossed. We should be able to hear Valentine Barrett in just a second. Valentine, congratulations on the pole position. How are you feeling?
Hello, thank you. Well, I'm feeling soaked and hot, but also happy.
SA, how hot is it where you are right now? Because say in the UK, it's unseasonably warm for the UK, and it's incredibly
Yeah.
sweaty.
Right now it says 26 degrees Celsius outside for me, but because there's no wind, obviously inside my room, it feels a lot hotter.
And whereabouts in the world are you racing from as well? Let's try and get people from at home can get a bit of an idea of just how sort of worldwide the grid is here.
I'm racing in France near Le Mans.
Oh, amazing! Did you manage to actually get over to Le Mans this weekend, or were you just viewing from
Well,
home?
I couldn't get to the race itself because the tickets were already sold out in December when I wanted to buy them. But I still managed to go to the first race day last Sunday and to the practice and hyperpole on Thursday. So that was still really cool.
Amazing, absolutely fantastic. So it was obviously the 100th year of the Le Mans as well. So coming into season 13, obviously you've got a slightly improved new 720S Evo in the McLaren, which is still actually quite a new car. It's really only been around a short time. So new car, relatively new circuit as well, and I believe this is the first Sprint Cup series since the major physics overhaul. How is it all feeling this season compared to previous seasons?
So indeed, this new McLaren is actually quite a different beast compared to the previous 720S. This thing is really difficult to drive in the slow corners. It has a lot of torque, a lot of power instantly. There's literally no turbo lag, so as soon as you put the power down, you can have wheel spins. So in all those slow corners, you need to be really, really careful as you apply the throttle. But obviously, as you saw, it's a really, really fast car on this track. And we're going a bit into the unknown track by track with this car, but we're going to find out, I guess.
Yeah, it's a slightly varied season this season. It's a very different sort of track listing as there normally is. Normally with Apex
Yeah.
Online Racing, I don't want to say you know what's coming, but there's usually a sort of a reasonable flow. But there's a lot of British circuits this year. I think we've got Snetterton, Donington, and Brands Hatch. Going to be really interesting to see everyone at Snetterton. Have you done many laps there before?
Not many. I've done some laps obviously in the past, but it's not a track I adore. It's not a track I never really spend a lot of time at, so we're
No,
gonna find out what happens there.
I feel like a lot of people outside of the UK probably are not that familiar with that circuit. It certainly is a bit more of a British GT or British touring cars kind of circuit. Obviously, slight variations on the track on those classes, but yeah, I think it should be a really interesting season. Are there any races this season that you're really looking forward to?
Spa
Fair play.
and let me look at the calendar.
I can grab it up
Spa,
for
and
you.
that's pretty much it. Maybe Brandzach, but the other tracks I'm not really confident at.
I suppose if you're saying
Maybe
the car is not so good on the slower corners, I think places like Laguna Seca might be a little bit of a stressful race for you, I would imagine.
Yeah, and McLaren has a history of being really slow at Laguna Seca on top of that, so
No, absolutely fair
let's see.
enough. Well, it's an amazing
Let's
effort.
see.
The perfect way to start off the season. So you
Yep.
basically stayed on pole for pretty much the entire race, apart from when you were in the pits. Did look like you were under attack from Hall for a little while, but you did seem to manage to maintain that gap and just put in an absolute dominant performance. Really well done. There's a massive round of applause to you for taking the pole position this evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No worries, and we will see you next race. Thank you ever so much for joining us.
Bye.
Okay, and it looks like we've got someone else joining us in the booth as well. And I believe it is Jardier. I'm not sure. It's just coming up with. It is Jardier. Good evening, sir. How are you feeling?
Hello. Yeah, good.
Really good race. Really good race. So it looked like you might take second place. It looked like you might take first place at one point. And so the squabble for the top three definitely sort of kept going the entire race. New car, new track, new BOP, and sort of massive update. I think this is the first Apex Online Racing season since the big update. How does it all feel compared to previous seasons?
Oh, different, definitely different. Like especially the new track and everything, and like different kind of setups than we used before, you know. But yeah, it feels good. I would say it's different. You need to get used to it. The different like sliding and oversteering and the tires dying and such stuff like that. But otherwise, it's still the same, you know, in a way.
I
Still
say,
the same racing.
and I mean, and as we all know, you do a colossal amount of racing. So I think you probably put in more laps than everyone else combined. I've seen you do multiple endurance races on the same day. So if anyone is going to be able to put in the time and effort to get fast, it's certainly going to be you. I was saying just a moment ago, actually, to Valentine about the very sort of different races we're doing this season, different tracks, and especially Snetterton. Is that a circuit that you're particularly familiar with, or is it going to be breaking fresh ground when it comes to that circuit?
I'm actually really looking forward to Snetterton. I'm actually gonna miss 2 rounds this season, which is the Laguna and Spa, which I'm really sad about. But at the same time, like I'm actually looking forward to Snetterton. It's gonna be the quality will be like it's gonna be like Monte Carlo, you know. The quality will be 97% of the success. So that's gonna be really interesting to watch.
Absolutely
I like
fantastic.
the track. I think I'm fast on the track, so I'm looking very forward.
Oh, good to hear. I mean, I think say Barrier was not looking forward to that circuit so much. I think he was really looking forward to Spa, and I'm sure he'll be pleased to know that you're not there to battle for position with him if you're going to miss the Spa race. I think he wasn't looking forward to Laguna Seca either. So another possible one. Looking forward.
That's also my good track. I'm for sure the Laguna is also my good track.
Oh, it's always the way, isn't it? Always the way. The ones that you miss are the ones that are usually the quickest at. So you came third place overall. How did it feel? It's quite a different grid this time around. Some lots of new names, some old faces as well. How did it feel out there on the track?
I mean, it felt good. Like I literally was really like I was super happy with my pace because both in a practice and in a quali, I was like basically going for P1. I literally in the last lap of my quali, I literally invalidated not on the exit of the last corner, but I invalidated after the first corner. Sorry, the last corner. I did a 0.7. I basically did pole position, but I invalidated on a pit entry. You know, on a
Oh,
start finish
just went
line. I
slightly over.
was
Yeah.
I was screaming because there's the curb on the exit of the last corner, which is like you can go over the curb, but then the curb become the line basically going to the pits. And if you cross it, you get invalidated lap. And I didn't know it because it never happened to me. So I was like absolutely destroyed. I was like so destroyed because I put everything in the lap. And then the first 30 minutes were absolutely fantastic. Like the fight with Hul and basically Vale was really good because I think I was the fastest from top 3 at the first 30 minutes. But obviously, with the same car, with the pace we were doing, it's so hard to overtake. I tried once with Hul. We did like 4 corners side by side. That was really, really fantastic. And yeah, the second stint, I don't want to say unlucky, but I did a one. First of all, I lost a second in the pit by one mistake. I basically just didn't turn off the engine correctly. And then in a in ACC in the first 3 laps, if you go too much over the curbs, you can get the pressure lost. And that's basically what I did. I went too much over the curbs, and I finished the race with left rear like 7 or 8 clicks too low.
Oh, go ahead and say that's a
like yeah, like for everybody who played the ACC, it's a big problem, to have such a bad pressure. So I don't want to make an excuse, but everybody who knows the game knows that I don't think I could have won, but I definitely could have attacked P2 at least, in the second stint. But hey, it is what it is. I'm still very happy with the pace. I think like this was like one of my best performances with like driving, like overall. I was very, very very happy with the driving. Like especially the first 30 minutes, that was just fantastic.
Yeah, so I actually thought it was a mistake, sort of because you pit slightly earlier than the leading 2 as well. I thought you were going to sort of try. Was that on purpose, trying to get the cut on them? And obviously, I said I know you lost a second in the pit, so when it came out for a moment, it looked like it was just the wrong decision. But to be fair, you weren't a second behind them when they re-emerged. So again, it's one of those things that happens in racing, happens in real life racing and sim racing, and sadly it's just one of those things. But I mean, amazing effort from you. Qualified in 3rd, finished in 3rd. It's the opening round of the season where anything can happen. So really strong effort from you this evening. Really well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was great. Like, I mean, like, it was fantastic. I just wish the P2 could have fought with Valentin so we could like catch up or something. But I don't think in the last 15 minutes I had any chance, to be fair. I was barely begging for race to be over at that point.
Just needed it to end. Needed to be able to hang up the steering wheel for a minute and have a cup of tea.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you ever so much for joining me this evening, Jardier. Massively appreciate you joining me in the booth. I think we did have one other person, but they have disappeared, and I think it was Hul, but he seems to have vanished. So thank you ever so much for joining us. We're going to sign off now, so thank you very much, and you can go back to your loyal fans, Jardier.
Yeah, I'll see you later. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers. Well, what a round 1. An amazing track, an amazing stellar performance from all the racers, new cars, new BOP, new season. Season 13 really does seem to be off to an absolutely fantastic start. Obviously a few technical issues, and as does sometimes happen, which is always a bit of a pain when it does happen, but here we are. So the only thing left to say is good night. Thank you for joining us. If you want to get more racing, come back, same place, same time tomorrow. Tier 2, it's equally good racing, lots of rising stars, and actually we've had even previous Tier 1 races dip into Tier 2 from time to time, so it can really be sometimes a bit of a masterclass on that end. So yeah, thank you everyone behind the scenes as well, putting everything together and getting all the livery packs up together and everything for everyone at home. So hope you've had a good time. Join us again tomorrow, and we will see you soon.